Hello again, fellow Homo sapiens. It's January the 14th, and we're here to read the Bible. Yesterday we left off Joseph. He was at the luncheon, I guess is what it is, with all his brothers. They don't know who he is yet. And all those brothers brought the youngest boy, Benjamin, to show him off. And it looks like Joseph, he had an emotional moment, and he had to go cry a little bit. But now it looks like maybe he's back dining with everybody. And so we'll see how the rest of the story plays out. Today, we're doing Genesis 44 through 47. Let's not waste no time. Let's get into this. So this section is called Joseph's Cup. And he commanded the steward of his house, saying, "Fill the men's sacks with food, as much as they can carry, and put each man's money in the mouth of his sack. Also, put my cup, the silver cup, in the mouth of the sack of the youngest, and his grain money." So he did according to the word that was spoken by Joseph. And as soon as the morning dawned, the men were sent away, and they and their donkeys. When they had gone out of the city, and they were not yet far off, Joseph said to his steward, "Get up, follow the men, and when you overtake them, say to them, 'Why have you repaid evil for good? Is not this the one from which my Lord drinks, and with which he indeed practices divination? You have done evil in so doing.'" When he overtook them, and he spoke to them, used these same words, and he said to them, "Why does my Lord say these words? Far be it from us that your servants should do such a thing. Look, we brought back to you from the land of Canaan the money which we found in the mouth of our sacks. How then could we steal silver or gold from your Lord's house? With whomever your servants it is found, let him die, and we also will be my Lord's slaves." And he said, "Now also let it be according to your words. He with whom it is found shall be my slave, and you shall be blameless." Then each man speedily let down his sack to the ground, and each opened his sack. So he searched. He began with the oldest on the left, with the youngest, and the cup was found in Benjamin's sack. So they tore their clothes, and each man loaded his donkey and returned to the city. So Judah and his brothers came to Joseph's house, and he was still there, and they fell before him on the ground. And Joseph said to them, "What deed is this you have done? Did you not know that such a man as I can certainly practice divination?" Then Judah said, "What shall we say to my Lord? What shall we speak? Or how shall we clear ourselves? God has found out in the iniquity of your servants. Here we are, my Lord's slaves, both we and he also with whom the cup was found." But he said, "Far be it from me that I should do so. The man in whose hand the cup was found, he shall be my slave. As far as you go up in peace to your father." So I guess that was his trick of splitting Benjamin out of the group. But I don't know, because Joseph's dad, he's expecting Benjamin to come home. So this next section is still in Genesis 44:18. And this is called Judah intercedes for Benjamin. Then Judah came near to him and said, "O my Lord, please let your servant speak a word in my Lord's hearing, and do not let your anger burn against your servant, for you are even like Pharaoh." My Lord asked his servants, saying, "Have you a father or a brother?" And we said to my Lord, "We have a father, an old man, and a child of his old age, who is young. His brother is dead, and he alone is left on his mother's children, and his father loves him." Then you said to your servants, "Bring him down to me, that I may set my eyes on him." And we said to my Lord, "The lad cannot leave his father, for if he should leave his father would die." But you said to your servants, "Unless your youngest brother comes down with you, you shall see my face no more." So it was, we went up to your servant, my father, that we told him the words of my Lord. And our father said, "Go back and buy us a little food." But we said, "We cannot go down. If our youngest brother is not with us, then we will go down. For we may not see the man's face unless our younger brother is with us." Then your servant, my father, said to us, "You know that my wife bore 2 sons, and one went out from me, and I said, surely he is torn up to pieces, and I have not seen him since. But if you take this one also from me, and calamity befalls him, you shall bring down my gray hair with sorrow to the grave. Now therefore, when I come to your servant my father, and the lad is not with us, since his life is bound up in the lad's life, it will happen, when he sees that the lad is not with us, that he will die. So your servants will bring down the gray hair of your servant, our father, with sorrow to the grave. For your servant became surety for the land to my father, saying, if I do not bring him back to you, then I shall bear the same blame, or I shall bear the blame before my father forever. So it's his guilt if his brother doesn't come back. And now, therefore, please let your servant remain instead of the lad as a slave to the Lord, and let go the lad up with his brothers, for I shall go up to my father if the lad is not with me, lest perhaps I see the evil that would come upon my father. So I don't know if he's like volunteering there to like take the place of Benjamin. The verbiage is a little off. Let me read the last two paragraphs again. Now therefore, please let your servant remain instead of the lad as a slave to my Lord, and let go the lad go up with his brothers. For how shall I go up to my father if the lad is not with me, lest perhaps I see the evil that would come upon my father? So he don't want to return to his father if he don't have his brother. So Joseph revealed to his brothers, Genesis 45. And then Joseph could not restrain himself before all those who stood by him, and he cried out, make everyone go out from me. So no one stood with him while Joseph made himself known to his brothers. So I guess he sent away all his people in the capital, and it was just him and his brothers. And he wept aloud, and the Egyptians and the house of the Pharaoh heard it. Then Joseph said to his brothers, I am Joseph. Does my father still live? But his brothers could not answer him, for they were in dismay in his presence. And Joseph said to his brothers, please come near to me. So they came near, and then he said, I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt. But now do not therefore be grieved or angry with yourselves because you sold me here. For God sent me before you to preserve life, maybe. For these 2 years the famine has been in the land, and there are still 5 years in which there will be neither plowing nor harvesting. And God sent me before to preserve a posterity for you in the earth, and save your lives by a great deliverance. So now it was not you who sent me here, but God, and he has made me a father to Pharaoh, and lord of all his house, and a ruler throughout all the land of Egypt. Hurry up and go get my father, and say to him, thus says your son Joseph, God has made me lord of all Egypt. Come down to me, do not tarry. And I guess maybe that's come on, don't waste any time. But yeah, what a mindset to just, go through all that hardship and have no remorse toward your family and be like, yeah, God put me here. Like, you just gotta trust this process. So even if you're going through a hard time, you're where you're supposed to be at that time. And it's just such a good perspective to have, just to be so grateful where you're at. So continuing on, Genesis 45:10, you shall dwell in the land of Goshen, and you shall be near to me, you and your children's children, and your flocks and your herds, and all that you have. Therefore I will provide for you, lest you and your household and all that you have come to poverty, for there are still 5 years left of the famine. And behold, with your eyes, the eyes of my brother Benjamin, see that it is my mouth that speaks to you. So you shall tell my father all the glory I have in Egypt, and all that you have seen, and you shall hurry and bring my father down here. Then he fell on his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, and Benjamin wept on his neck. Moreover, he kissed all over his brothers and wept all over them, and after that his brothers talked with him. Now the report of it was heard in the Pharaoh's house, saying, Joseph's brothers have came. So it has pleased Pharaoh and his servants as well. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, say to your brothers, do this, load your animals and depart, go into the land of Canaan, Bring your father and all of your father's household and come to me. I will give you the best of the land of Egypt, and you will eat the fat of the land. Now you are commanded, do this. Take carts out of the land of Egypt for your little ones and your wives, and bring your father and come. Also, do not be concerned about your goods, for the best of all the land of Egypt is yours. Then the sons of Israel did so, and Joseph gave them carts according to the command of the Pharaoh, and he gave them provisions for the journey. And he gave to all of them, to each man, changes of garments. But to Benjamin he gave 300 pieces of silver and 5 changes of garments. And he sent them to his father's house these things: 10 donkeys loaded with the goods of Egypt, and 10 female donkeys loaded with grain, bread, and food for his father on the journey. So he sent his brothers away, and they departed, and he said to them, "See that you do not become troubled along the way." Then they went out of Egypt and came to the land of Canaan to Jacob their father, and they told him, saying, "Joseph is still alive, and he is the governor over all of Egypt." And Jacob's heart stood still because he did not believe them. But when they told him all the words which Joseph said to them, and when he saw the carts which Joseph had sent to carry him, the spirit of Jacob their father revived, and Israel said, which is Jacob, "It is enough. Joseph, my son, is still alive, and I will go see him before I die." And that's good. That would just be such a bittersweet reunion, thinking your son's dead for all these years just to see him. I bet for like the old man, that gave him like just such hope, and gave him some excitement in his old age. So on to Genesis 46, this section, Jacob's journey to Egypt. So Israel, Jacob, took his journey with all that he had, and came to Beersheba and offered sacrifices to the God of his father Isaac. Then God spoke to Israel in the visions of the night and said, "Jacob, Jacob." He said, "Here I am." And he said, which is God, "I am God, God of your father. Do not fear to go down to Egypt, for I will make you a great nation there. I will go down with you to Egypt, and I will also surely bring you up again, and Joseph will put his hand on your eyes." Then Jacob arose from Beersheba, and the sons of Israel carried their father Jacob, their little ones, and their wives in the carts which Pharaoh had sent to him. So they took their livestock and their goods, which they had acquired in the land of Canaan, and they went to Egypt, Jacob and all of his descendants with him, his sons and his sons' sons, and his sons' sons. I don't know if it doesn't say that, but I'm just being dumb. His daughters and his sons' daughters, and all the descendants he brought with him to Egypt. And now these were the names of the children of Israel, Jacob and his sons, who went to Egypt. Reuben was Jacob's firstborn. The sons of Reuben were Hanach, Palu, Hezron, and Carmi. And the sons of Simeon were Jemul, Jamin, Ohad, Jachin, Zohar, and Shaul. And the son of a Canaanite woman. Shaul was the son of a Canaanite woman. The sons of Levi were Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. The sons of Judah were Onan, Shelah, Perez, and Zerah. But and Onan died in the land of Canaan. I think those were the two that tried to be with that one girl, but they just died. Help me out there. And then let's see here. And the sons of Perez were Hezron and Hamul. The sons of Issachar were Tola, Puva, Job, and Shimron. The sons of Zebulun were Sered, Elon, and Jalil. And the sons these were the sons of Leah, whom she bore to Jacob in Padan Aram, with his daughter Dinah. All the persons, his sons and his daughters, were 33. The sons of Gad were Zephon, Hagi, Shuni, Esban, Eri, Arodi, and Areli. The sons of Asher were Jimnah, Ishua, Isui, Beria, and Serah. That's Serah for the Serah, their sister. And the sons of Berai were Heber and Malchiel. These were the sons of Zilpah, who Laban gave to Leah his daughter, and she bore to Jacob 16 persons. Man, can you imagine having 16 kids? So the sons of Rachel, Jacob's wife, were Joseph and Benjamin, which was his favorite wife, that he worked 14 years to get. And to Joseph in the land of Egypt were born Manasseh and Ephraim, whom Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On, bore to him. The sons of Benjamin were Bela, Becher, Ashvel, Gera, Naaman, Ehi, Rosh, Mupim, Hupim, and Ard. And these were the sons of Rachel, who were born to Jacob, 14 persons in all. The son of Dan was Hushim. The sons of Naphtali were Jazil, Guni, Jazer, and Shilem. And the sons of Bilhah, whom Laban gave to Rachel, his daughter, she bore to these Jacob 7 persons in all. And all the persons who went with Jacob to Egypt, who came from his body, besides Jacob's sons' wives, were 66 persons in all. And all the sons of Joseph who were born to him in Egypt were 2 persons. All the persons of the house of Jacob who went to Egypt were 70. And this little section onto Genesis 46:28 is called Jacob settles in Goshen. Then he sent Judah before him to Joseph to point out before him the way to Goshen, and they came into the land of Goshen. So Joseph made ready his chariot and went to Goshen to meet his father Israel, Jacob, and he presented himself to him, and he fell on his neck and wept on his neck a good while. And Israel said to Joseph, "Now let me die, since I have seen your face, because you are still alive." Then Joseph said to his brothers and to his father's household, "I will go up and tell Pharaoh and say to him, my brothers and those of my father's house who were in the land of Canaan have come to me, and the men are shepherds, for their occupation has been to feed the livestock, and they have brought their flocks, their herds, and all that they have. So it shall be, when Pharaoh calls you and says, what is your occupation? That you shall say, your servant's occupation has been with livestock from our youth, even till now, both we and our fathers, that you may dwell in the land of Goshen. For every shepherd is an abomination to the Egyptians." Yep. I guess that's what they're supposed to say to Pharaoh whenever he asks them what's their occupation. Yep. I guess I'll just reread it just to reiterate, to help myself really. "So it shall be, when Pharaoh calls you and says, what is your occupation? That you shall say, your servant's occupation has been with livestock from our youth, even till now, both we and also our fathers, that you may dwell in the land of Goshen. For every shepherd is an abomination to the Egyptians." There it is. On to Genesis 47. "Then Joseph went and told Pharaoh and said, my father and my brothers, their flocks and their herds, and all they possess have come from the land of Canaan. Indeed, they are in the land of Goshen. And he took 5 men from among his brothers and presented them to Pharaoh. Then Pharaoh said to his brothers, what is it your occupation? And they said to Pharaoh, your servants are shepherds, both we and also our fathers. And they said to Pharaoh, we have come to dwell in the land, because your servants have no pasture for their flocks, for their famine is so severe in the land of Canaan. So now, therefore, please let your servants dwell in the land of Goshen." So maybe he's saying, like, bring your servants over to the land of Goshen so we can take care of them, is what I'm getting out of that. "Then Pharaoh spoke to Joseph, saying, your father and your brothers have come to you. The land of Egypt is before you. You have your father and your brothers dwell in the best land, and let them dwell in the land of Goshen. And if you know any competent men among them, make them chief herdsmen over my livestock." Then Joseph brought in his father Jacob and set him before the Pharaoh. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh. Pharaoh said to Jacob, how old are you? And Jacob said to Pharaoh, 3 days, the days of the years of my pilgrimage are 130 years. Few and evil have been the days of the years of my life, and they have not attained to the days of the years of my life of my fathers in the days of their pilgrimage. So Jacob blessed Pharaoh and went out before Pharaoh. And then Jacob situated his father and his brothers and gave them a possession in the land of Egypt, in the best of the land, in the land of Ramesses, as Pharaoh had commanded. Then Joseph provided his father, his brothers, and all his father's household with bread according to the number in their families. And then this next section, Genesis 47:13, it starts saying that Joseph deals with the famine. So now there was no bread in all of the land, for the famine was very severe, so that the land of Egypt and all of the land of Canaan languished because of the famine. And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the grain which they had bought, and Joseph brought the money to Pharaoh's house. So when the money failed in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came to Joseph, saying, "Give us bread, for why should we die in your presence? For the money has failed." And then Joseph said, "Give your livestock, and I will give you bread for your livestock if the money is gone." So they brought their livestock to Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in exchange for the horses, the flocks, the cattle of the herds, and for the donkeys. Thus he fed them with bread in exchange for all their livestock that year. When that year had ended, they came to him the next year and said to him, "We will not hide from our Lord that our money is gone. My Lord also has our herds of livestock. There is nothing left in the sight of my Lord but our bodies and our bodies and our land. Why should we die before your eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread, and we and our land will be servants of Pharaoh. Give us seed, that we may live and not die, that the land may be not desolate." Then Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh, for every man of the Egyptians sold his fields, because the famine was so severe upon them, and so the land became Pharaoh's. As for the people, he had moved them into the cities, from one end of the borders of Egypt to the other end. And the land of the priests did not buy. Only the land of the priests he did not buy, for the priests had rations allotted to them by Pharaoh, and they ate their rations which Pharaoh gave them. Therefore they did not sell their land. Then Joseph said to the people, "Indeed, I have bought your land and your land this day for Pharaoh. Look, here is the seed for you. You shall sow the land. And it shall come to pass in the harvest that you shall give 1/5 of the harvest to Pharaoh. 4/5 of the seed shall be your own, as the seed for the field and for your food, for those of your households, and as food for your little ones." They said, "You have saved our lives. Let us find favor in the sight of my Lord, and we will be Pharaoh's servants." And Joseph made it law over the land of Egypt to this day that Pharaoh should have 1/5, except for the land of the priests only, which did not become Pharaoh's land. And this section is called Joseph's vow to Jacob, starting Genesis 47:27. So Israel dwelt in the land of Egypt, which is Jacob, Joseph's dad, in the country of Goshen, and they had possessions there, and they grew and multiplied exceedingly. And Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years. So the length of Jacob's life was 147 years. When time drew near that Israel must die, he called his son Joseph and said to him, "Now if I have found favor in your sight, please put your hand under my thigh and deal kindly and truly with me. Please do not bury me in Egypt, but let me lie with my fathers. You shall carry me out of Egypt and bury me in their burial place." And he said, "I will do as you have said." And then he said, "Swear to me." And Joseph swore to his dad that he would bury him with his fathers. So Israel bowed himself on the head of the bed. And so there you have it. Looks like the famine is just hitting harder. Everyone had to sell their land to buy food and basically sell their lives as servants. And it looks like Israel/Jacob he's on his last leg. And we'll pick up tomorrow, starting with Genesis 48. But like I always say, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for tuning in. learning about the Bible with me, digging into the Word, just please like, share, subscribe, comment, help the engagement, and we'll just keep going together. Thank you so much.